All right. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to your last video of the week. Remember, you do have school tomorrow, but this is the last day of notes, so this will be the last video of the week. So, excuse me. Some updates. I'm feeling great. Just have to stay inside for a certain amount of days. So happy I'm feeling better, and I will be good to leave my house right before Christmas Eve. So that's really nice for me. So here's what we're doing today. Going to give you an update. Remember those mediocre presidents we talked about? Going to talk about who were the presidents during the 1850s, just like I did last week with the presidents of the 1840s and 1830s ish. Just really brief. And then our big focus today is going to be notes and the main person in our notes today. We'll have a little John Brown, talk about what happened to him, but our main person is going to be Abraham Lincoln. And then you're going to end the class writing a paragraph talking about the events that we've been talking about all week, the events of the 1850s, All right? So, sorry, a little tickle in my throat. Here's who we have as president during this time. So, Zachary Taylor is president in 1849, and he only makes it to 1850. Whoa, what does that tell us? That means he either got kicked out of office or he died. Well, before we get to that, or you can just read the screen, he was the member of the Whig Party. He was a war hero of the Mexican-American War. Literally, the president right before him, James K. Polk, was the president during the war he fought in. So remember, we've talked about that war heroes can easily become presidents in this country. It happens, I can think of at least four off the top of my head. But it happens quite soon after said war. This is the term right after James K. Polk's one term. However, the fun thing about Zachary Taylor right there is it was a hot 4th of July. He was on a picnic. He ate an entire bowl of cherries and drank an entire jug of milk. A couple days later, his stomach was off and he died. Yeah. There's theories he was poisoned and a bunch of other things, but I think it was just some spoiled milk that led to a stomach ache. Remember, it's 1850. Medicine's not what it should be. He was older, led to complications, stuff that could already been there, and he died. So Zachary Taylor is our second dead president. Two presidents dead by 1850. Country's not even 100 years old yet. Our 13th president is Millard Fillmore. Again, you're going to notice a trend with all of these. They all are one-term presidents because they're very lackluster. Every president between Jackson and Lincoln are one-term presidents. Millard Fillmore is going to be a Whig Party president as well. His fun fact, it's not that fun, but I like it. He's from Buffalo. Go Bills. And he's going to have a hand in the Compromise of 1850 and on the side of he thought it was good. He was like, this is great. We got our anti-slavery stuff in here. But he wasn't very much like, yeah, anti-slavery or yeah, slavery. And that's really the problem we see with a lot of these presidents during this time. They're either pro-slavery or the ones that aren't pro-slavery don't take a hard enough stance. So that's Millard Fillmore. He was the vice president, Zachary Taylor. He just finishes Taylor's term, and he doesn't even get the nominee from his own party to run in re-election. 14th is considered one of the worst presidents of the United States. I put him at probably the second worst president. I don't really tell you my political views, but I will when it comes to the 1850s. Franklin Pierce was terrible. One-term president. He's a Democrat, and he was very much pro-slavery. And I put in there he's from New Hampshire. You got to remember, it's very easy for us to think that the entire North was against slavery. It gets to that point, or the majority, but there was people in the North that believed, black people should be slaves. And slavery, states had the right to choose slavery. They didn't have to be from Alabama. Sometimes they were from New Hampshire, which is a northern state, if you didn't know that. He thought the abolitionist movements were a threat to unify the nation, or a threat to the unity of the nation. That was going to tear the nation apart, which they technically do, but you can argue that actual thing that tore the nation apart was slavery. If you didn't have slavery, you wouldn't have these abolitionist movements. So he was pro-slavery, and he only serves one term because he's all about popular sovereignty and states' rights. boo Franklin Pierce. And he's going to be very pro-slavery during 1853 to 1857. That's Bleeding Kansas. That's Dred Scott. That's with all this really insane events we've been talking about are happening. So it's a good thing to keep in mind. And number 15, the worst president, in my opinion, in the United States was James Buchanan, the president before Lincoln. He will also be pro states' rights. So he believed, even though he was a Northerner, he believed that he was a Northerner. Fact check me on that. He believed that states had the right to choose slavery, and he did not take a hard stance against slavery. He wasn't, hey, I'm Franklin Pierce, go slavery. But because he was so, he had the power. The federal government had the power during the John Brown raids, during, even though that was against slavery, but all these commotions. Oh, excuse me. Hang on. Sorry. Not the John Brown raids. During the John Brown raids, after that, and then after hearing Lincoln is going to be the president, takes over Buchanan, and all these states are talking about succeeding, he had the power of the federal government to stop them before people got too riled up. He could have done what Washington did with the Whiskey Rebellion, but he didn't do a thing, and that's why he's the worst president, in my opinion, in American history, because he's just so lame duck. He doesn't do anything. He lets these people in the South who wants to see, he lets them get that movement going. And by the time Lincoln becomes president, it's too late. All right. I should probably re-record because I misspoke a couple times there. But when I meant to say the South succeeding and whatnot, I accidentally said the John Brown stuff. But we clarified that up, and I don't feel like re-recording. If someone watches this that's not in our class in the future, because it's on YouTube, they're going to be like, wow, this guy sucks. All right, so that was that. And now what we're going to do, we're going to do some notes. So if you can be so kind and go to OneNote, and the last bit of notes we have, U.S. history notes, and it's going to start with the Lincoln-Douglas debate. All right. So, Abraham Lincoln. Everyone in that room knows who Abraham Lincoln is. You all know who he is. I know who he is. In my opinion, he is the greatest president of the United States of America. But we have to talk about Lincoln before he was president. So in 1858, Abraham Lincoln is going to go against Stephen Douglas, and they're both going to be running for U.S. Senate from Illinois, the state of Illinois. That's where Lincoln, he was born in Kentucky, but he was raised in Illinois, and that's where his home was. And Stephen Douglas will be the sitting senator of Illinois at the time. And they're going to be very, very, very different. Douglas is going to be pro-popular sovereignty. Remember, that's when each state or territory gets to decide if that state gets to have slavery or not. He's pro-popular sovereignty. He was Kansas-Nebraska Act writer. He was for all of that. But Lincoln believes slavery should not be allowed to spread into the territories. At this point in time, Lincoln's not saying let's get rid of slavery. He's saying let's contain it. It does not need to spread to the West. And that's the whole 1850s with this whole expansion and division is, should we allow the new part of the country become slave states or free states? Are we going to be a country known for slavery for the majority or a country known for freedom for the majority? And that's the big issue of the 1850s. So Lincoln believed that the nation could not survive if this fighting that we see in the 1850s, such as Bleeding Kansas, continue to rip the Union apart with the issue of slavery. And he becomes insanely popular in the North during these debates. I think I have a picture. Yeah, so if you look at this picture right here, this is how the debates were. Remember, there's no TV back then, so they both would travel across the state of Illinois and people would come watch them debate. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Nope. All right. So, Lincoln is going to actually lose this. He's going to lose a close race but the debates make him very powerful in the North and very unpopular in the South. Because the South heard this as he's going to get rid of our slaves. And you got to remember the presidents that we were talking about, very, very lame duck at the time. Franklin Pierce is pro slavery. James Buchanan, who will become the president during this time, he doesn't do anything to stop the issues of slavery. So when you have a guy like Lincoln entering the political realm as this very popular man, the fear is, oh, if he ever becomes president, he might actually do something to get rid of slavery. So that's going to make Lincoln famous. Oh, sorry, my screen froze a little bit. All right, so we got to take a pause on Lincoln. We talked about John Brown 2 classes ago, and normally I would have liked to talk about it just in one swoop, but we're going chronologically this week. So John Brown's at it again. Remember, John Brown was the man who was responsible for these killings up here, pulling pro-slavery men out of their homes because he saw the destruction they were doing in Kansas, the towns being burnt down, the fighting, and he took 5 pro-slavery men with his sons out of their homes and literally chopped them up into pieces. So John Brown, who it's this fantastic political cartoon. Look at that. Man, oh man. So John Brown's at it again. Remember, John Brown is anti-slavery. He hates it. He believes God put him on this planet to rid the earth of slavery. So at this time, he's going to leave 5 black people and 13 white people into Harper's Ferry, Virginia. It's now part of West Virginia. And their plan is to raid an arsenal. To raid an arsenal, and an arsenal is going to be where you keep guns, ammo, guns, bullets, ammo. Oh, hello. Oh, okay. Where you keep weapons. That's what we're going to do. Adding 100 today, folks. So where you keep weapons, cannons, guns, gunpowder, all that stuff. He says, let's raid that. And remember, this is before the Civil War, so even though it's down south, it's part of the U.S. military. So let's go raid this massive arsenal that the U.S. military owns, and we're going to give it to all the slaves in the area and start a massive slave revolt. However, here's the problem. The slaves are too scared to rise to help. No slaves rose to help. None at all. And 5 plus 13 is only 18. That's not many people, plus himself, so 19. So you have 19 people going against pretty much the U.S. military. A number of his men are going to die, and the ones that don't die will be hanged later. Brown's going to be arrested by Robert E. Lee, who will later end up being the head of the Confederate Army. And then he is going to be tried, found guilty of murder and treason. It's one of the first cases of treason in the United States history. Why is it treason? Well, he raided a U.S. military arsenal. That's treason. You can't raid a U.S. military arsenal. So, because he did these actions, the North is going to see him as a martyr. A martyr is someone who dies for a just cause. Jesus Christ is a martyr. Gandhi's a martyr. Martin Luther King Jr. is a martyr. But the South is going to view him as a villain and insane. I mean, this guy was trying to think about it. If you're a Southerner, you're trying to not only free the slaves, but to give all the slaves weapons to rise up and murder their owners. Which, if you're up north and you hate slavery, or even today in 2021, you might be like, yeah, okay. But as a slave owner, you're like, whoa, this is my worst nightmare. I knew the North would do this. Did everyone in the North want to do this and murder all the people down south? No. But John Brown saw it as the only way. So obviously, this is really going to make tensions higher that leading up to the Civil War, because once it comes the time for Southern states to break away from the Union, they will say, well, how do we not know someone else like John Brown's going to do this again? Let's leave this country. All right. And then the last thing we have to talk about is the election of 1860. So Lincoln lost against Douglas in the Senate race for Illinois. However, he's going to run against him again because they're both going to be popular, depending on what part of the country you're in, for the presidency in the election of 1860, one of the most important elections in human history, or American history. Southern states did not like Lincoln or what he believed in, yet Lincoln is still going to get elected. We're going to look at a map in a moment and why he's going to get elected. And the big thing is going to be too many people are running, and it's going to split the Democrat vote. We'll see this a few times in U.S. history that the person who won didn't necessarily get as many popular votes, but the other party had more than one person running for them, and that's going to split their votes. And the South's going to see this. They're going to go, our entire section of the country hates this man and didn't vote for him. This shows the North has all the power. We've been saying this since the 1820s. Our opinions don't matter. There's too much power in the North. We got to take matters in our own hands. So, what is this going to lead to? Many Southerners are going to talk about seceding from the Union. That means, I'm going to highlight this. To succeed, break away. The breakaway from the Union. And the election of Lincoln will directly lead to the Civil War. It's the last event of, well, not the 1850s, it's 1860, but of that 10-year period of the issue of slavery at the center of it all that will lead to, to the breakout of the Civil War. So if you look at this map, Lincoln gets all the states in blue. Northern states, California and Oregon are over here. And then Douglas, so he was very popular in the South, but he also was a Northerner. He was from Illinois. So he's going to get Missouri, and he is going to, New Jersey splits their votes at this time for the Electoral College. He's going to get half of New Jersey. But because he wasn't a Southerner, and you had a Southerner Democrat run, he's going to get all those votes down there. And you're going to have another man named Bell, who calls himself a constitutional union man, saying, let's take the Constitution for what it is, but let's keep the Union together. So it's really those border states between the North and the South right there. And what that means is, let's keep slavery, but let's not break away. But Lincoln is still going to win. He's going to get 59% of electoral votes, but as you can see, he only gets 40% of the popular vote. Again, you need a certain number, depending on what year it is in U.S. history, of electoral votes to win the presidency. You don't need the popular vote. All right. Okay. I stumbled a lot, especially during the first part talking about the presidents, which it's whatever. So I apologize for that. I probably could have restarted and re-recorded, but hey, here we are. If you got to rewind or rewatch anything, go ahead and do that, or pause right here. But the last thing I'm going to show you is your writing assignment that you're going to do for the rest of the class. And if it gets short on time, you can finish it tomorrow too. You're going to watch a video tomorrow. All right, so this is going to lead the country to the Civil War, and we are going to talk about the Civil War after the holiday break. So if you can go to the Unit 3B tab, go to Lesson 7, 1858 to 1860, The Rise of Lincoln. And your page will look a little different because I'll have this video right there. You're going to write a paragraph for me. So pretty much just summarizing the past 3 days. So you're going to pick one of the following events from the 1850s and explain why that event had the biggest impact on leading the nation to a civil war. Please be sure to complete the following in a 5 to 7 sentence paragraph. So pick one of these events. Then I need you to explain the event and compare that event to at least 2 other events and explain why your event had a bigger impact leading to the Civil War. I'm going to put the notes in the collaboration space, but also all of those events, other than the first one, because Miss Marshall taught that when she was here last week, I have videos on YouTube of me talking about them. So you're picking one, you're telling me the event, compare it to 2 others, saying why your event definitely was more of a reason why we went to the Civil War. All right? Okay, this is my last video of the week. I better stop recording because I keep stumbling and mumbling in every 2 seconds. But hey, whatever. Go Bills. Um, Tomorrow you're going to watch a YouTube video. I'm not going to make a video on that. Thank you so much for your patience during this whole time when I've been out. Please let me know if you have any questions on teams. I got a lot of grading to do. I know I got a lot of messages I got to reply back to. I'm going to be doing that today and tomorrow. And well, today's Tuesday. I'm recording this video. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. All right, guys. Thanks so much for your patience. I hope you have a wonderful break. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. And of course, go Bills.